Hey guys, we're the Texas Real Estate Sisters. I'm Magali.
And I'm Nathaly, and we're here to make home buying easier for you guys.
Do you think they missed us?
It's been a while, guys. I know that we kind of fell off the face of the earth this past year on YouTube.
But not from doing real estate. We did real estate all year long consistently, and we helped a lot of people last year. But this year it looks very different from what the market looked like last year. So that's what we want to talk about today.
So we just kind of wanted to give you guys some tips on how you guys could be the most prepared you could be to kind of step into the housing climate right now.
Right. I think before this year's climate and the way that things are in the market, we could sit down with you and tell you, hey, tell me all the things that you're looking for in a house, and then you get pre-approved, and then we go find that house for you, right? It seems simple, right? That's exactly what it was before. Now, with the way the market is, it's been a seller's market for a while, but the way that it is now, it's next level. Like,
and I mean, the biggest factor being is here in the DFW and in a lot of other markets, we're always going to recommend that if you're out of state, you talk to somebody local because it varies. But here in the DFW right now, inventory is at an all-time low.
Like, we're hearing people that have been in real estate for many, many years tell us that they've never experienced anything like the low inventory that we're experiencing today. So that should tell you a lot, that people who've been in real estate 20 plus years have never seen a market look like it does now.
And, you know, I feel like a lot of people have been like speculating a crash and stuff like that. But like you're saying, so many people that have been in this industry for a long time haven't even felt or seen what we've been dealing with currently. And just to give you guys an example of what that means, what do you mean that we're in a seller's market? So to give you guys an idea, this is us going out and showing a client a property, and there being 30 showings or 30 appointments. So that means 30 families, 30 groups of people went and took a look at the house. And then out of maybe that group of 30 people, I would say maybe 15 people submitted a contract or an offer on that property. So it's really common to see multiple offer situations. So that means multiple people.
You're gonna hear that a lot, the whole multiple offer situation, and that's exactly what it means. A bunch of people came in and a bunch of people were interested in putting in an offer, and an official offer. It wasn't like, hey, I called the agent, I want to put an offer in. It's like a physical, legal offer that was put in.
Yeah, and a lot of listing agents are overwhelmed because it's just crazy to see that there's this many people submitting offers on just one property at a time. And it's, you know, that's the reason why we wanted to really make this video, because it's a little bit shocking and it's not normal, because even maybe talking to your friends or family members a year ago or maybe 2 years ago when they bought, it was a complete different market. So it's easy to kind of get hung up on them telling you like, oh,
you can just ask the seller to pay for your closing costs, or you can tell them to fix everything in the house. We're talking about sellers you know why sellers don't have to give money right now? Is because someone's gonna come and not ask for any. So if you have someone asking for, you know, seller concessions and someone who's not, the no-brainer is to go with the person who's not asking. Why would you want to spend more money when you don't have to? You can keep that money as a seller. Also, the other thing is having someone ask for repairs for a bunch of stuff around the house. Most properties right now are being sold as is. That's just the reality of the market. That's what you have to be prepared for, so that you're not like, what's going on? I'm so confused. Why am I not getting a house? Because our job is to guide you to make the best offers possible on the homes that you want and prepare you to do that and come in strong.
I would say like the first thing that I would want to address and then kind of start off on what we wanted to talk to you guys about is, I think right now the most important factor in having a less stressful transaction or a little bit of a better transaction is to just be as prepared as possible. And I would say especially financially. There's some great resources out there, but like she was saying, cash is king at the end of the day, guys. Like cash.
What we're seeing, what we're seeing right now is there are a lot of people who are paying over appraisal price. Okay, so what does that mean for you? It means just if a house is selling for $150, multiple people put in offers at 150, at 155, at 152, at 160. Okay, just putting in an offer in at that price does not necessarily mean that that's what you're gonna give them. Okay, we still have to get an appraisal in that matches that price that you are offering. Okay, what some people are doing is they're coming in and saying, hey, I'm offering you 160, but if the appraisal comes in at 155, I'm giving you that $5,000 difference in cash anyways, no matter what. Okay, so that immediately beats out a ton of offers that just said like, hey, I'm gonna give you 155 and hope for the best on the appraisal, like things like that. Okay, so for that reason, not only do you need to be like the regular amount of prepared, like making sure your credit score is in order, making sure your debt to income is in order, making sure, you know, obviously that you're making enough. That's our lender's job, you know, but all those things need to be in order. And then we suggest that if you can scrounge up any cash, I'm talking about gifts from family, if you can do it, you know, maybe just selling random stuff that you're not gonna need in a new place.
People have been hitting, like, making a lot of money on stocks right now. I know that. So if you hit it big, like, on a stock.
But if you have that exciting new money or anything that you can get creative with, talk to your lender, see, okay, can I pull money from here? Where can I have that little bit of extra cushion so that if I need to throw anywhere from 1 to 5K, 10K like hurts my heart to think about. Like, some people are doing it. To me, it's like, oh, Jesus, why would you give someone that? But it's happening. It's a reality. Like, it's,
and if somebody wants
it,
the biggest thing is if somebody wants it,
they're gonna do it,
and they feel like it's worth it.
And they have it. So that's kind of what we're trying to get you guys at. Like, you have to, if you have the extra cash, it will only work in your favor for you to be able to offer that up as an incentive for the seller to pick you as, you know, the offer. Some other things that we feel like you can do to prepare. So we always prefer for you to come a little bit more educated as far as what's happening in the market. If you've been looking at Zillow and Realtor.com, I know they're like, oh, don't say, you know, don't use that. But let's be honest, like, that's what you're looking
people
at.
Window shop.
Yeah, that's what you're, like, before you come in, you're like, hey, I'm kind of interested in buying a house. We know that that's what you're looking at. And that's okay. But what I want you to be looking at is not these $500,000 houses on Zillow. What I want you to be looking at is what you think you can afford. Okay? Because obviously you don't know for sure because you probably haven't talked to the lender yet. But what do you think you can afford? What do you think that you need? Are you a single person and you can live in a 2-1 or a 3-1? Or is it just you and your partner and you guys, again, can be in a 2-1 or a 3-1? Does that work for you? Or are you a family and you need 2 bathrooms because people need, you know, you don't want to be able to share 1 bathroom.
And I think it's good to, like, just kind of take time, whether you're a single person or a family or it's you and your spouse, kind of take time to reflect and think about that, because I feel like it's easy just on the spot, us asking you or another agent asking, hey, what are you looking for, to say, oh, well, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z, just kind of off the top of your head. But once you start looking at it, things really change because every community is different. So it's important for you to really sit down and think about what are some needs, what are some wants, what are things that, like, well, it would be nice if we could get that.
Right.
But again,
to me, it's just like, what can you live with?
So that kind of brings us to that point, is once you do realize where you're shopping, is kind of adjusting those expectations based on what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, you're gonna have to do that once you start physically looking at the homes anyway.
And that makes it more difficult. If you come in and you haven't already adjusted your expectations to what you can afford and what you're gonna be able to purchase in that affordability range, you're gonna come in and you're gonna be super disappointed. Or you're gonna continue to want to look at things that you can't really compete with because we're at the top of your budget, you know? So we don't want to continually let you down. We don't want you to get discouraged. So the more research you do ahead of time, the easier it is for you to come in, for us to make some really strong offers from the get, and just be ready for the journey, you know? Because,
and I feel like, I don't know, to me it should be exciting for you guys to wanna be interested or curious about it, because I feel like it makes you guys more confident when it comes to time to putting in offers, and it makes you guys feel so much better when you are competing, or when you do find a property that you really like. It just, I don't know, it makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah, it does, because then look guys, like no matter what, right now purchasing is just the way you're not making a bad choice if you're purchasing. You know what I mean? Like, no one ever said like, oh, I wish I would have waited longer to buy real estate. Like, no, everyone is like, I'm so glad that I bought when I did. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, yeah, the market is tough right now. It's something we have to prepare you guys for, but it's never gonna be a poor choice. You know, it's always, we tell every client that we have to remind, it's a stepping stone. It's a way in to build generational wealth that hasn't been done, you know, in a lot of our families, because they come in and they live in a house, and then that's the house you grow up in, that's the house they live in forever, and that's the house that they die in. That's just not the way it is anymore. Now we have options, and our first stepping stone is just jumping into the pool of real estate, purchasing our first property, and it doesn't matter at what point in your life you're in. You can be in your 30s, you can be young in your 20s, you can be single, you can be married, you can have a family, you can be in your 50s and be making the first choice. That doesn't mean that that's where you're gonna be forever. It can still be a stepping stone for you. So if you come in realistic, and then with our help to help you be as competitive as possible in the market, we can get you there. It might take 15 offers. You hear that? 15 offers. It might take even more than that, until we hit one and we get it and they choose us. But it's just about being prepared.
And being flexible up front when you don't really have an idea of how that market is gonna be, or maybe the price point that you're gonna be shopping in is gonna be. So really, after you're aware of what that is, just make those adjustments and figure out, like she said, what could I live with, what could I not live with? Does that exist in my price point?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes there's clients that tell us, hey, this is my max, and they realize, man, I think it really would make sense for me to shop, you know, maybe $10,000 over my budget, because then I don't have to renovate and do some of those things that maybe I don't have out-of-pocket money for or time to do. So it might kind of help you come to that realization. Or maybe you realize, hey, you know what? I can take a house that's a little bit distressed. I do have time and money to do it, and it's something that I'm interested in. So at that point, it kind of makes just it easier for you to understand what you're really looking for. Especially in a place like DFW, guys. There's so many neighborhoods, and it's just interesting to see, especially right now with low inventory, where there is inventory, where there's none. You know, it's interesting to see some of the neighborhoods, like kind of like River Oaks or here in North Fort Worth, where there's not much inventory. So, you know, anything I would say under 200 right now that pops up, if it looks good, and even there's been some inventory that looks a little bit rough.
It's interesting because you used to be able to go look at a property and you weren't sure about it, and you talked to your friend about it, and you slept on it, and you woke up the next day and you were like, you know what, I do want to put an offer in on that house.
And then
that
was a good house. We'd write it up.
Yeah. And then we'd submit the offer, and you know, oh, maybe they'd accept it, or maybe they'd negotiate back and forth.
But we go under contract.
We don't have that luxury anymore. It's like, do you want this house right now or not?
Yeah. And how competitive are you willing to be?
Because if you don't put in there's no time right now. No time to waste. So if you're serious about doing it, I think, you know, reach out to us. Let's talk about it. If you guys have any questions, you know, let us know in the comments or shoot us a message. We'd be happy to answer anything specific. But yeah, we want you guys to be ready. We don't want you to be discouraged. That's I think like the main thing. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be different than what maybe your friends and your family have been through in the past. But it's still possible.
Don't listen.
Yeah.
I feel like that is one of the things right now that, since I feel like this change happened really quickly. Like, you know, even this past summer, even last spring, things were really different.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like it happened really fast. So it is kind of hard to wrap your head around it, especially if maybe you were thinking ever since last year that you were going to be buying a house and you've been looking since then, to realize, man, things have changed. The climate's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But guys, it's not impossible.
It's not.
I feel like another thing I'll tell you guys is if you guys are focused and you guys are submitting offers and you're going out to look at inventory, it's gonna happen.
It is.
We haven't had a client to where it's impossible, it's not gonna happen. Like, it's just a matter of how much are you guys willing to hustle to submit offers?
How serious are you? How serious are you, and how bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, we'll help you get there.
Yeah, and get curious, like we're saying. Just go and check out our website. We'll link it down below.
And we'll always say, going to our website will always be the most accurate information because it's real-time information from the MLS, which is a multiple listing service. So it tells you if something's under contract, if it's sold, or if it's pending or whatever, versus some of the other websites that we mentioned earlier that just aren't as accurate because the information isn't like she was saying now.
And to give you guys a recap, anything that's pending or under option contract, usually at that point you can't take a look at it anymore. So that'll be a really good indicator for you to check out inventory as it comes along and seeing how quickly it changes status.
Yeah, but like always, we're so excited to be back and doing our YouTube videos again. So we will see you guys next week with a new topic on how to educate you in this real estate market.